What it is, guys, it's your old boy Pilk. I'm coming at you guys a little bit late, and I apologize for that. But I did promise we would talk about Record Buster today, so let's go ahead and talk about Record Buster. Now, the first thing going in this that you need to know, Revis, it is Revis this time, is weak to fire. So we're going to build a crazy fire team. Plus, her main two effects are Curse and Seal. So whenever we go into a unit here, you're going to see that they are equipped mostly with the Glorious Anklet. My Glorious Anklets do Seal protection. There are Curse Glorious Anklets, but as far as I can tell, you don't really need those at this juncture. You want to do a Seal Glorious Anklet. And the reason you want to do that is because if you are sealed, you can't do anything. It's base attacks, and that's going to suck for the team we built. So you should be equipping Seal Prevention Glorious Anklets on every team. Make sure they're all maxed out. All mine are completely maxed out, so they'll be helping us out immensely on this team. Now, to introduce the team, I have the new Philvis on here. Pardon me. If you're not familiar with what she does, she basically is a crazy good debuffer. Now, I'm not going to beat her on the bush. She kind of only does what slightly better what Crosso does. So there's a possibility that once I get my Leafia, because the Leafia is the buff version of her, once I get Leafia up and running and get a few more dupes in her, and she's basically as survivable as Philvis is, I'm going to call her by everybody else's name, I probably am going to switch her out. Now, the reason I'm running Philvis here is because Revis on turns 6 and 10 will remove all of her debuffs. Every debuff she's got on her is going to be removed, and we'll need somebody that can debuff her. Now, like I said before, Crosso can, but we're going to try something a little different here and talk about this, okay? Obviously, I have Crosso and Argonaut, the two best units of the game. They need no introduction, and for assists, I've got Orna and Artemis on there. If you're not familiar, Orna mostly because of her buffs, the way she buffs Crosso is amazing, and she's got great amount of agility, so Crosso's almost always going first. Argonaut has Artemis. Artemis buffs strength to everybody and a little bit more to the person she's on, and since he already gets crazy strength buffs, it just makes sense, right? It just makes perfect sense. Now, Line, as always, is on this team, and actually you'll see that I have the revolving anklet on her, and the reason being is because she's only going to come in there and do one move, and then I need her gone out of the way. Same with Raul. We haven't seen Raul in quite a bit of time in any teams, but tonight we've got the revolving anklet on him because he's going to come and do negative electrode, basically take the wind out of every AoE attack that we receive, i.e. the super attacks, the big scary ones that we need to prevent against. There is a unit that does both, but I don't have her, and I don't have her awake. If I do have her, I don't have her awakened far enough. And she's not as survivable as he is. Not that makes too much of a difference, but it'd be a ting. Okay? So we've got all that going on. Now, then I finally have Haruhime. Now, Haruhime is there because she debuffs, she heals, but more than anything else, she improves the counter rate. And, like I said, Revis never removes buffs on your units, only removes her debuffs on 2 turns. So, her debuff is basically going to be used mostly as her attack, because it's the only one that actually attacks. I'll show you her stack when we get in there, but it's crazy good. Now, I do have the Nun Reverie on here, but that's mostly because the Nun Reverie is wicked and has a really amazing amount of health regeneration. She just does great things for Haruhime and is a great partner for Haruhime. Okay, I do have this, the movie Hestia on, I have the movie Hestia on Raul, only because damage received attack type single targets plus 10%. So all the single target attacks that we produce are going to hit a little harder. She's going to come in, she's going to produce that, and she's going to be gone. The reason that that's not going to affect Haruhime is because her only attack is an AoE attack, so it's pointless to have her on her. We get in, we get that assist skill, and we move on with our life. She just basically comes in and does one-trick pony. Okay? This Adrione, basically similar effect. Line comes in, drops that, and then she gets out of the way. She does foes strength and endurance by minus 10%, And I believe that stays to the end of the game. I don't think Revis actually removes assist skills. So I think that stays to the end of the game. The null ailments isn't going to be too important, but it's just a backup in case we need it. And we already talked about Orna and Artemis. I want to talk about the new eyes for a moment. Strength, magic, physical, and magic resist plus 8%. So strength and magic improved 8%. Physical resist and magic resist also improved 8%, but that's only on the person that she is equipped to. So it's only going to affect Philvis. That's important. Now, the status debuff isn't going to be as important here. It's not really going to have any effect on Revis. I've still haven't figured out how exactly that works, but I want to say, because I have checked, and it doesn't stop Revis from doing her strength buff, so it's either disabled, or I think it more likely only affects the first buff, or maybe whenever she's enabled on that turn. I'm going to go ahead and guess it would make the most sense for it to be the first buff applied, not every buff, because that would just be broken beyond belief. But let's go ahead and jump in here. Let's do our attacks. Let's talk about it. And let's talk about kind of some of the gambles that I'm taking with this team, because there are a couple of big gambles on this team that have screwed me over and not paid off in the past. So we're going to take a look at that. Okay? First things first, I'm going to do that big debuff on her. And I'm going to go ahead and do Vortex Flames on Argonaut, Hero Rising on Krazo. Krazo's going to be doing Vortex Flames. That's because it's just going to push all the buffs out an extra turn. It basically regens the buff. We're going to do Hero Rising, and we're going to do Enlightenment. Enlightenment is a buff to all of the units, so all three of them are going to get SA gauge increases. That's really super important. Okay? Hero Rising is just a buff for Argonaut. It's basically going to ensure that Argonaut's doing really good, amazing, crazy damage. Pretty straightforward stuff. Okay? Rejection is a debuff. Mid-fire magic attack, agility, magic resist, and fire resist plus 25%. Okay? Now, we'll talk about something that we're going to do here in a moment. But first, turn 1. That covers everything. We're not doing very good damage, but we're also kind of building our buffs and debuffs at this point in time. Now, from this point on, I'm going to do attack until turn 6, when I'm going to do her debuff again. And from that point on, we're actually do a special skill with her. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do it now, because I know she's not going to last to the end of the game. And basically, that tactic is only designed to make her last to the end of the game. So when I was doing basically level 4, I was doing that skill. So I would do attack, because she didn't have enough magic to last the whole game. I would do attack until turn 4, 5, or 6, and then start doing real attacks with her. Like secret passion that I'm going to do now. Okay. We're going to do Vortex Flames one time with Krazo. Push all those buffs out. We're going to do Spiral Strike. Push all the debuffs out. Basically, if you're not familiar with how these work, they just add a turn. Basically, you get a free turn for every buff and debuff. So, whereas right now, all of her debuffs say 2 turns, they're going to continue to say 2 turns next turn. Okay? We're going to do Negative Electrode with Raoul. And because that's a buff, that never goes away. That's going to affect us for the rest of the game. Bada bing, bada boom. Turn 2. Boom. Now, remember, we don't take any damage till turn 4. So we've got a few more. We've basically got this turn to do whatever we need to do, free and clear. Pretty straightforward. Okay? So what we're going to do on this turn, we're going to do Sheikah. That is going to increase the penetration rate and the counter rate of all these units. That's a really important factor. Now, normally, I would do her debuff here, but I'm going to be real. I'm going to do her special arts. Yes, I'm doing her special arts early. That's fine. And I'm going to do Jolts. And Jolts is a 30% across the board, where hers is a 40% for strength and magic. But the 30% is more than enough for this super attack, so I'm not worried about it. And everybody else is just kind of hang on to the seat of their ass until this is done. Now, this does mean that the debuffs are going down, but remember, we only got one more turn on debuffs anyway, so we're not worried about that. Now, Haruhime's special arts. You want to get this off as early as possible is the key to getting absolutely insane damage out of all your units. Haruhime's special arts gives everybody a 100% strength and magic boost. So since we've got a combination of strength and magic units on this team, everybody gets 100% of their main stat. That's super duper important. Really super important. Okay? Plus, it's a good heal, but we don't really need heals yet, so I'm not so worried about that. Big hit, but nothing that isn't survivable. Okay? Now, at this point, Haruhime is going to continue during her debuff, because it's her only attack, like I said before. We're going to continue pushing Spiral Strike and Vortex Flames. That's going to continue to the end of the game, because basically, like I said, Vortex Flames is going to push all those buffs out. At some point, we're going to be using Haruhime's buff skill, but we'll talk about it when we do that. And turn 5 is nothing really special, so this is what we're doing. Just all attacks. With the exception of Haruhime, I know hers is a debuff, but it's really the only attack she's got. Oof, girl. Okay. Haruhime is disappointing me here a little bit, because if you're not familiar with what she does, her counter is... everyone's counter rate should still be up. Yeah, counter rate's still up. I don't know what's going on with that. Whenever she counters, she doesn't actually do an attack. She does a heal on whoever is currently got the least health on the team. So most of the time, she's keeping Philvis alive. She's not really pulling her weight right now. I may need to put someone on this team that actually increases that counter rate, which means probably removing eyes, and that would have to be somebody that's got a lot of health, so I'll need to go look at that. But for right now, we're fine. Right now, we'll just kind of live with it. Okay, Spiral Strike, Vortex Flames. We're going to continue doing that. We're gonna do Akane. It is the debuff. That's not the main. That is the main reason we're doing it this turn, not just because of the attack. And we're going to do Rejection, basically because if you see the beginning of this turn, when she does that swing and the stab in the ground, that's removing all of her debuffs. So we're just going to restore all those debuffs now. Okay. Just realized this little sign over here is covering up Philvis's health, but it's a thing. If you don't know why I've got her set where I have her set, it's because her special arts, whenever we get it off, Ultra Fire Magic Attack with temporary magic boost and Ultra on guard rate, plus Fire Resist minus 50%. So she's going to produce a lot. She's basically going to kill the fire resistance on Revis. So when all these other units come in, they're doing crazy fire damage. Crazy fire damage. Yeah. So once again, we're going to continue with Akane. We're going to put this back down to Secret Passion. Spiral Strikes, Vortex Flames. Pretty straightforward stuff. We don't need to worry about that. Now, one thing you do want to consider for this team, and I'll show you here on turn 8. Turn 8, you really want to have somebody that removes strength buffs. I sadly don't have anyone on my team that does that. I don't really have room for them, because she's going to add a strength buff here of like 20%, and you need to get rid of that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do Awakening Spirits here, and I'm going to push out our buffs and debuffs just because, well, reasons. Let's see, buffs are down to 2 turns. Yeah. So that's never really going to diminish. I guess I could. You know what? I'm going to continue doing attacks with her, just so we get more counters. But Awakening Spirits is going to hit her a little bit less hard, even though it's a super. It is an AoE attack, and our single target attacks are going to hit significantly harder. So we're losing there a little bit, but the 25% heal is going to be really, really important. All right. Let's go. Hopefully all this is making sense to you. I'm trying to describe it as best I can, but all right. So we got full heals. Everybody should survive this. Now, this wouldn't hit nearly as hard if I had removed her strength buffs. Okay. Actually, I didn't need to, so that's good news. I've actually built my team well enough that it didn't hurt that bad. I've seen that attack do lots and lots and lots of damage, and it can get super scary, so you don't want to mess with that. So here's a 20% strength buff. If I had removed that, that would have been absolutely stellar, but I didn't, so it ain't. It's there. She does at this point remove a lot of her strength debuff, so her strength debuff is now minus 65%. So we just want to beat the hell out of her at this point. We want to basically knock her down as far as possible. So here we go. Let's go. All right. So with him, I'm going to continue doing Spiral Strike, Vortex Flames. Next turn, I will have to debuff again, so we'll worry about that at that point in time. Just to show you, everything is still down to turn 2 on all the buffs, but we're not too worried about that. We just want to produce as much damage as we can. There we go. Good job, Haruhime. She is not getting her heals. All right. So we're going to refresh those debuffs, and I'm going to do Awakening Spirits one more time to try to get a little bit of healing out of here. There. You see that little spin thing and stab the ground? That removed all those debuffs on her. No! Haruhime! What are you doing, girl? Why are you not doing your counters? Ugh! Okay. This is actually kind of a nightmare situation. So she's gone. Now, unfortunately, if I had her MLB, this wouldn't be even a concern or a question at this point, but I'm kind of put in a bad state. I really, really, really wanted her to survive these next 2 turns so that we could use her as our triple super, but it's not a thing. That triple super would reduce the fire damage even more than it already is, so we'd be doing crazy amounts of damage with Argonaut and Krazo. It's not going to be the case, so whatever they do, just know they could do better if they were in the right situation. But Haruhime's not in the mood to do her counters. I get it's a gamble, it's a dice roll, and she may or may not be forthcoming with them, like she is on this turn. But all right. Once again, and this time I'm going to have to increase the debuffs. This just ensures we survive this. I don't think we'll need all this. Yeah, you know what? We're going to just continue doing this. I'm certain they're going to survive this. Next turn we'll do a triple super attack. Yeah. There we go. Now, Haruhime isn't kind of the danger zone now. Haruhime is a little squishy, so this actually is a bad situation. Okay, good. All right, triple super attack. I don't need Haruhime special arts, but whenever you do a triple special arts or a quadruple special arts, it does increase the amount of damage that the main 2 do, and it increases the combo a little bit, so yeah. So let's see here. I would really have preferred have Philvis for this, but yeah, it's not that I can really do about that. All right, so 322k. I expect him to do at least 600. 600k? What we got? Oh, all right, 447. I knew they were usually pretty close, but that I've seen them do way better. This is all kind of redundant. This is just to give them a little bit of extra oomph. So it's really nothing special there. All right, and the combo. I'm gonna guess the combo is just barely gonna break 1 million. I've seen this combo break 2.5 million, but we'll see. We'll see. I really needed Philvis to survive this. I really did. Okay, 2.4. That's not bad. That's way better than expected. Okay, Haruhime is deceased. No, she's not. Thanks, girl. All right. Really, honestly, doesn't matter what we do here. Yeah. Let's just see if they can survive to the end. We'll get a little bonus if they do, so it'd be nice if we can debuff her and have her survive. All right. Okay, we survived. So we'll get a little bit of an increase for that. That's actually surprising outcome. So if we had that and if Philvis had survived and we gotten the extra damage, we probably could have been really in the 90s, maybe encroaching on 100k. So this is my highest score thus far, though, so I can't be mad. It's the first time I've actually survived level 5. So not bad. I'm not mad about that one bit. You know, hasn't quite pushed me into the top 1,000 yet, but I'm still working on this a little bit. Now, like I said, I am working on MLBing both Philvis and what's her face and Leafia. So once they're MLB, that'll help out a lot too. But that's to be the video. Let me know what you guys think. I might recover this on probably Monday after I've had some time to farm up everything and hopefully have everybody I need. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow my Birdman, hit me up a Booker. I'll be back at you guys with a little more Danmachi here in just a little bit.